it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. This is a video 3-ingredient card making. Not just 3 ingredients, but all of these 3 items came in at less than $10 US altogether. So pretty good considering the cards that we are going to create. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just a good starter amount of cards that you can create using these 3 items. You could create many, many, many more. Now, I have chosen the Dear Love collection, and these are the 3 items. So the 6x6 paper pad here. The front cover also has some items that you could cut out, as well as the back cover. And this is something I absolutely love about these companies when they make the most of their real estate for what you pay. The second one I have chosen is the stickers set. These were about $2 and change, $2.20 or something. And this one here is also the second sticker sheet. And again, it comes in at the same price. So these were all pretty good. And we are going to kick into making some beautiful, beautiful cards. Now this paper pad, it has solids, it has stripes, it has florals, and it has focal points. So those are all good items when it comes to wanting to create cards using these 3 things. Now don't get me wrong, you absolutely do need to have a couple of things like scissors and glue and a trimmer, and there is always more things that you could add. So don't limit yourself just by what I'm using in this video. But I want you to know that you don't have to have, big die cutting machines. You don't have to have lots and lots of big machines and tools and all those things to create beautiful cards. You don't have to have die cutting machines. You don't have to have hot foil machines. You don't have to have laminators. So let's go ahead and make some beautiful cards today. Now I am going to, as I said, you can have whatever you want. I am going to add in a couple of extras today. They are completely optional. I will also give you other options that I can talk you through that you may already have in your stash. Most paper crafters or card makers have die cutting machines, so that's definitely an option. It's not too bad to pick up some lace or some decorative elements that, like fabric here. This lace was super cheap. I actually got this at a secondhand store and couldn't walk past it. It was just delicate, beautiful lace. So I'm going to add this to a little strip of this floral paper. Other than that, before this, I cut down a solid block of the pink and then a solid bit of the floral. So I've just added some lace using some double-sided tape to the back there. You could use some glue if you wanted to. Then I'm going to use some foam tape. This is completely optional. It's going to pop it up off the background a little bit and give it a little bit of dimension, but if you didn't want to, you could add it flat as well. I'm going to take the middle sticker here. This says, "Love you with all of my heart," and I'm going to pop that right down in the center. Now these stickers are sticky. They are sturdy. They are cardstock stickers, but I didn't feel that I needed to add any extra adhesive at all. They were beautiful and sticky. So here we are going to put this first card together. I have a floral layer that I'm going to put down on the pink one. If you wanted to save some cardstock as well, you could cut out the center of that pink one and save a little bit of that for later, but that's okay. I pop this down onto another little white strip of cardstock. This is just going to help this pop off the background. This is a very busy looking card, but I think the sentiment is very easily read, and I think this is beautiful nonetheless, even though it is got a relatively busy background going on there. So I'm going to layer all of these things up. I love that extra little lace. If you have some borders, some die cut borders, you could just do that with paper instead of using actual lace ribbon. That would be fine too. So that is card number 1 done and dusted already. We are shifting through these fast today because, again, this is another long video, but I just want to show you some beautiful ideas that you can do with not too many items. Next up, we have these gorgeous little rectangles up here. Now, there are 4 of these little stickers, and this is what made me think that I wanted to turn these into some stamps. So I'm going to take a solid green piece of cardstock. Now, it does have some texture and pattern to it, which I absolutely love, but it is relatively solid. And I'm going to show you how to make your very own sort of postage stamp look. with just one simple tiny little tool that you probably have. So I pop these stickers down straight onto the green cardstock. As I said, I didn't feel I needed to add any extra adhesive or anything like that because they have a lot of stick to them. I chose to do 3 because I thought that would fit nicely along the slimline, the mini slimline card that I have. This card base was sitting to the side from a different project, so we may as well use it up. Now, if you have a hole punch, even a double hole punch would work perfectly fine. I happen to have a single hole punch, and this is what we are going to use to create these beautiful postage stamps. So I just roughly trim down the sides of these so they're somewhat even. I want them to be pretty much the same size. They are going to be going beside each other, and then using a single hole punch, I just come along and I cut half of the circle all along all of the edges. So I can see on my one the little half thing, but you do get a pretty good, you get a pretty good feel for where it's at. And then this creates this gorgeous little postage stamp look, I guess. Now, absolutely, there are dies out there available that do this for sure. I just don't have any of them, and I make do with what I have, and I quite like the look of this. I think this looks good to me. So yeah, I'm happy to create them this way. So you may have a double one. I've done it with that as well. I just turn it upside down and so that I can see where the hole is being punched, and you just want about half of that hole to reach your paper. So I have taken another piece of the pattern here. This is like little doilies. It's very, very subtle, and I thought just a nice subtle background other than the plain white would be really nice. Again, I'm going to bring in the same lace. I don't want to bring in a whole lot of different elements. As I said, I'm keeping this very simple today. But I think there was about 2 meters of this in the packet that I picked up. Again, I got it at a secondhand store, so at an op shop, so it didn't have a name or a brand or anything like that with it. But I'm just going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on the back here so that I can adhere this, and then decide which way I want it to go. And then I will put the lace across the front. So I guess the point of today's video is around that you don't have to have lots and lots of things. I have a very small crafting space just in the corner of a room, a very, very small. It's a tiny little desk. And then I have a couple of small drawers. And so what I have found in my card making journey is that less is sometimes more for me. Most of the time, I would say. When I have less options to choose from, I'm often more creative with what I have, and I don't get so caught up in having to, think of all the elements that I could possibly add, that I could have in my stash to add. I just put out, 3 or 4 elements on my desk and just make do with those without having to bring in lots and lots of different things. Now, by all means, if that's what you enjoy, absolutely go ahead. That is what it's about for me. It is a hobby. I enjoy it. I love it. I love card making. I love sharing it with you all, and it's become a really lovely community to be a part of. But for me, this is something that I have found that I really enjoy using a select few items rather than trying to pull together 30 or 40 different elements and tools and papers and textures and all the things. I love to challenge myself using just a few items, and this helps my creativity endlessly. So we have, for this card here, we've got our lace on, we've got our sentiment on. I've got my 3 stamps that are popped up just a little bit, my little homemade postage stamps that are popped up along the front of this card. And this is sweet but simple in my opinion. So gorgeous, there's some texture, there's lots of different heights, there's elements that are eye-catching on there. And so that is that one all finished. Right, we are going to move on to the next one now, and this green provides a very gorgeous solid in the pack. The pink and the green are fantastic, and I'm going to cut this down into a square card this time. So this is going to be 4.5 by 4.5 inches. Again, the measurements can change. Whatever you have, you can make this into a rectangle card, you can make this into a larger square card, you can make this a circle card if that's what you so please. And then I'm going to take these gorgeous stripes here as well. These are sort of subtle but sweet stripes, I think. And this is going to go on top of our green solid background. Again, if you wanted to, you could cut out the insides. I hadn't thought of that at this very time, but lots of my videos, I do tend to save as much as I possibly can because we do invest a lot of money into this beautiful hobby of ours, and we want to make the most of the items. But that's okay. Today I was just happily card making using these 3 items and really enjoying that element of my card making session. So this, the green part is 4.5 by 4.5 inches, so it fits exactly perfectly onto that little card front. Then I add the same liquid glue onto this piece here. Again, these are all double-sided sheets in here. There are 24 double-sided sheets in this pack, as well as the front cover and the back cover that have the extra designs as well. So this is a busy little paper pack. Now I have picked this gorgeous square sticker from down the bottom of the sticker sheet, and I am going to do a wide brim around this. No, that's a little too wide. I'll cut it down a little bit, but I was enjoying that postage stamp look from before, so I'm going to go ahead and do that all over again. I tend to leave a little gap in between my little half circles here. And I find that kind of has that postage stamp feel to it, just a little gap. But honestly, if you go wrong and stamp and, cut one of these wrong, no one even notices. It's a very, very forgiving style to create. Now I had this leftover piece here from where I had cut out from those 3 little mini postage stamps, and this card just needed a little more, a little something else, and luckily this is going to fit diagonally across on my background here. Now I love all those, like, it looks like paper folds to me that are of course not actually paper folds, but they are photographed or whatever that way for this piece of paper. Now look, I was so sad. I was like, don't look at the back, just keep going. And I wanted to this gorgeous sort of pristine floral paper pad. I love the idea of the sort of contrast of the ripped paper. So I've got this piece across here. I'm going to make it fit perfectly, just holding it in place for now. Then I can pull this up and I can do some tearing down both sides. Now I tear it a few times and I kind of want to make it look, a little bit messy, but kind of neat messy. I still like to have that little bit of control, I guess. And so I'm going to, again, glue this down nice and flat. And then we have already made our focal element that is going to go on top of it. But I am going to pop that part up on a little bit of foam tape. Now, I love that paper going down the front, that strip. Of course, what I could have done from the very beginning is just cut out the corners of that stripy background paper and glue those on. It kind of almost looks like I've done that, but I didn't think of that. It was okay. It was an afterthought and it all works out okay. I try not to go back and think what I could have, should have done, because really it's just about enjoying the process and enjoying what I was doing here. So I'm okay that we took the extra paper as well. There we go, we have the 3rd card finished. This is a gorgeous square card. We're doing lots of different shapes today, which is always fun. But if you prefer to keep them all rectangle, or you already have your card bases made, then absolutely go for gold, do that too. Now I want to use this beautiful frame. This is on the back cover of the paper pad, these frames here. You could go ahead and cut all of these out and use those little elements. I was tempted to use those little clips as well. I had so many ideas for this paper pad, and I sort of fight myself between not making my videos too long, but still including enough different varieties, different styles, different ways that you could use some of the elements, and so I hope that is helpful to you. I hope that this gives you some ideas to sort of springboard off. I'm going to cut out the center here. Again, this is nice, easy, fussy cutting for me. Beautiful straight edges, lots of space to move around. So this is my perfect type of fussy cutting. And then as a little bit of a background, I'm going to choose the floral, which is going to be the larger background. And then I'm going to choose some of the more solid pink. It does have a bit of texture and a little bit of text there, but it's very, very faint. Just a little piece of the pink solid, and this will go behind my frame. Then you could use some dots, you could use some fun foam, kids fun foam, of which you put some double-sided tape on it or some glue. and make this a little bit more dimensional to add some foam to the back, I just use some foam tape. I use the 1mm foam tape from scrapbook.com. They have just recently come out with 1mm, 2mm, and maybe the standard 3mm, but anyway, the 1 and the 2 is definitely new. The 1 is very, very slim, thin foam tape. So if that's what you're after, if you're after just a tiny little bit of lift, a tiny bit of dimension, then the 1mm foam tape is fantastic for that. So I'm going to take off the release paper. I've got the little sticker that says just a hello, and I'm going to put my frame down on top of that. Of course, I could have added, ink blending to add a little more to this. I could have added all sorts of things, but we are keeping these cards beautiful and simple using mainly just these 3 ingredients, a couple of extras, but in general 3 beautiful ingredients. Now I did think about tilting this off to the side. You could add another piece behind it as well to sort of offset it, all sorts of wonderful things, but I'm just going to go beautiful and plain and straight. I love this card. I think this could be used for so many different occasions. It's lovely just to be able to write a note in there to a friend, and this is the perfect card for that. So I hope that you have enjoyed these videos today. Of course, there will be links in the description box down below this video, and if you really enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe. I have other videos, lots of other videos like this, using not too many items at all in my video playlists. And if you would like to send me a card, I do have a snail mail address that you can send the actual card to. Again, all of the information is in the description box below. Other than that, I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!